What's up, extraordinary people? I'm Daniel, and today we're going to talk about Hocus Pocus 2, which is the long-awaited sequel to the 1993 cult classic film Hocus Pocus. The movie is directed by Anne Fletcher and stars Bette Midler, Kathy Najimy, and Sarah Jessica Parker as the Sanderson sisters, three Salem witches who resurrect themselves in modern-day Salem to wreak havoc and try to cast a spell that will allow them to live forever. Now, the original Hocus Pocus has gotten some pretty negative reviews from critics, but in general is a pretty popular movie and a cult classic among Disney fans. And personally, I like that movie a lot. I recognize obviously that it is only trying to be a certain type of movie. It's trying to be very goofy and silly. If you're looking for a really serious drama or something, I don't know why you're watching Hocus Pocus, but obviously that's not what you're going to get. If you know what you're looking for, then I think you'll really enjoy that movie. And the sequel, in my opinion, is very much the same. It's obviously not trying to be a serious drama or anything. It's obviously not trying to have like really intense character development. It's obviously not trying to be like a really scary horror film. It's trying to be a fun family Halloween film that's goofy and silly and just fun. And in my opinion, it succeeds pretty well at that goal. Obviously, one of the biggest strengths of the movie, as with the original, is the performances of the three leads, who are obviously very funny, obviously having a lot of fun in the role, and very infectiously energetic and just a lot of fun. The story here is basically what you'd expect. Like I said, it's not like a really serious drama, but despite that, in the third act of this movie, I think the movie actually is more emotional than I was expecting it to be, which was a pleasant surprise. That's kind of how I feel about the original film as well. It's very obvious that they took what worked from the original and just kind of went with that because that's what they knew their audience wanted. And in my opinion, that was the right decision. As far as the good characters in the movie, the characters who are trying to stop the witches, there's a new cast in this film, obviously, since it takes place like 30 years after the original. And while there aren't necessarily any, Oscar-winning performances here per se, the new cast does a pretty good job and creates entertaining characters for what this movie needs them to be. There are even some interesting plot elements that were thrown in that weren't part of the original that kind of advanced the story and world building of the movie, which I thought was pretty cool. There's also a scene at the beginning of the movie that kind of explores where the witches came from. It shows them as children, and the actress they got to play Winifred as a child is really perfect in her role. Like, she gets Winifred's mannerisms and stuff down perfectly. It's very entertaining. I also appreciate that Disney still makes family-themed Halloween movies like this. Obviously, most horror movies aren't really appropriate for younger children, but I think there definitely should be a place for movies that an entire family can watch around Halloween that are fun and maybe a little spooky but not really scary, but just kind of to introduce kids to that concept and that type of movie. And then when they're older, they can watch more serious horror films. It's a niche in the market that I'm glad Disney is still filling. So overall, my impression of Hocus Pocus 2 is pretty positive. It's a really fun movie, it does what it's trying to do, and if you know what that is and you're on board with it, I think you'll have a really fun time with this movie. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going to give Hocus Pocus 2 a 7. Alright guys, if you've seen Hocus Pocus 2, let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching this video, and remember that you're extraordinary. I love all of you so much. Bye. 'Cause you're extraordinary. Yes, you know it's true. Extraordinary. That's why I love you.